Okay, Teresa, can you still hear
Right.
me? All right.
I'm here.
Just after 11, so I think we might as well get started. We have a couple of participants with us joining us today. Thank you and welcome to everybody.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Launch 20, and here you are in Google Meet. I hope you have enjoyed your long summer and you're ready to get back at it. So, today you have Angela Cotes here and myself, Teresa Lopatron. We're going to be walking you through Google Meets. So here is the land acknowledgement. I'm just going to start it.
We acknowledge that the land on which we are gathered is part of the traditional territory of the Chippewa, Odawa, Potawatomi, and Delaware nations. These indigenous nations, known as the Anishinaabeg and Lenape, agreed through their ancestral languages to the mutual sharing of the land with obligations and responsibilities to the environment. Today, these responsibilities and obligations extend to all peoples.
Okay, thank you. So just with synchronous learning, just things to think about is building a community and relationships, lead interactive modeling sessions, differentiate instruction for small groups, and that's something that you can look into with a Google Meet, taking on smaller groups and larger groups. Any personalized instruction, provide the one-on-one coaching if need be, guide practice and application, facilitate real-time conversations, and foster collaboration among students, and real-time feedback on work in progress, which we know is super important.
So can I just add into there that just to make sure we're all clear on synchronous versus asynchronous. Today we're looking at synchronous, which is which in our board we're using Google Meet with our students. Today it's in Zoom, so there's different platforms. We're looking at Google Meet with our students, and so this will be for the synchronous portion, is how you use Google Meet. So I just want to make sure we're all clear on that before we go further. And then some of the advantages to synchronous. So there's a time and a place for both types of learning. The advantages to synchronous is that it's more social in nature. Students can easily interact with the teachers and other students, and it also makes group work possible. Synchronous learning takes place in real time, so which means learners can get immediate feedback, and ideas and opinions can also be promptly shared with fellow learners. So again, like that conversation piece really is where this comes in. And similarly, if your students are having trouble with any of the course content, synchronous learning allows them to ask questions and get instantaneous answers. Okay, so we did forget to mention just at the beginning, I will be monitoring the chat room. At any point, if you have any questions or comments, reflections, throw them in there. We're also a really small group, so feel free to unmute your mic if that's easier. A little bit more authentic a conversation. Feel free to just jump in at any point, and we will try our best to address your questions.
All right, thanks, Angela. Oops, that's not what I want. iPads. Okay, so some Google Meet expectations. This is something you might want to share with your class as you log on, or maybe something that's up there for them to see, just to have your expectations put in place. So we got this off the internet and thought it was a good one. So be on time. So log on a few minutes before. So as a teacher, you'd want to log on first. And I know Google, or the Google Meets just put it in that you will, if you organize the meeting, it'll only let you in first before letting anybody else in, that's newer to now than it was in the past when we first went to remote learning. Be prepared, find a quiet place, be sure computer is charged, and it's on when talking. We can all have that mute button on by accident when we're trying to talk, but you know, that happens. Mute yourself, listen when your teacher or other students are talking, and then as the presenter, you do have the option to mute your students as well. So that's something to think about going forward. We'll talk about that. Presentation, wear appropriate clothing, sit up, be in the camera shot. So sometimes if you've noticed with all this remote learning or just being home so much that people, when they're recording themselves, sometimes you just see the top of their forehead. So just, you know, make sure that you have your camera on you properly, and you'll get better results that way. Chat responsibly. Does it say, sorry, I can't see. Raise your hand to speak. Type your questions in the chat box. Stay on topic as best we can. And participation, be focused, be attentive, be an active participant, ask and answer questions when you can. Be respectful, be kind, be nice, and be considerate. And headphones. I'm not wearing mine today, but it does help when you have headphones on, and you can encourage your class to wear headphones and make sure that they are plugged in and the volume is on.
So those are just some things you will want to set. Those are just examples of expectations. You would obviously create your own according to the group you have, their age level, that sort of thing. And so taking that time really early on to set those expectations of what good netiquette is in a Google Meet.
All right. Oh, there we go. So here's a video that I found on YouTube, and I just cut it, I tailored it to us. So it's setting up video meetings in Google Classroom. And so if you are going back to the classroom, a good idea would be to get your class hooked up with Google Classroom, and then you could do meets this way. So I'll just show you.
We now have a new easy option for managing meets with your students. In general, here's how it works. For each Google Classroom that you have, you can now generate a unique Google Meet link for the students in that classroom. The link for the Meet can be displayed on the stream page and on the classwork page of the classroom, so your students and you can easily access it. You can use the same Meet link over and over again anytime you want to video conference with your students. However, the students cannot join the Meet without you, so they can't access the Meet before you are there or rejoin the Meet after it is over and you have left. Let's take a look at the specifics for how to set this up and to use this new integration. First, go to Google Classroom as normal and open up one of your classes. Next, click on the gear icon in the top right-hand corner to access the settings for that class. Now scroll down to the General section of the settings. Here you will find a setting for Google Meet. Click the button for Generate Meet Link. This will now create a unique Google Meet link for your class and your students. If you do not want your students to have access to the link just yet, you can toggle off the setting for Visible to Students. If you turn on this setting, the Meet link will be accessible on the stream page and the classwork page. You can also click on the down arrow next to the Meet link to copy the link if needed, or to reset the link to a new unique link if needed. Copying the Meet link is helpful if you want to invite someone to the Meet who is not in your Google Classroom, such as another teacher or a guest speaker. When done, click the Save button in the top right-hand corner of the page to save these changes. Now when you or your students go to that classroom, you can access the Meet link at the top of the stream page, as well as the top of the classwork page. In addition to being convenient for you and your students, this is also a special Meet that does not allow the students to join before you or rejoin after you end the Meet.
All right, and that's just from logging on from your Google Classroom.
So that is by far, right, Teresa? If you are using Google Classroom, by far the easiest way. Would you not agree?
Absolutely easiest. It's just a little, I use my iPad all the time, and on my iPad, it's on the top right corner. There's a little camera, and you can just press that, and then you can go into settings and set it up. It's pretty easy. And then it's there for a couple other.
It's a one-time thing you have to do, right?
Yep, you can set it up so if you want the same time every day, or maybe every Monday or Wednesday, whatever you choose to do. I'm not sure what your schedule will look like. You can set that up right through Google Classroom. So next we have, if you don't use Google Classroom, there we go, scheduling or starting a video meeting through Gmail. Here's the instructions here. In the sidebar, click Start a Meeting. Click Join Now for a video meeting, or click Join and use a phone for an audio-only meeting. It's pretty self-explanatory once you get in there. To look at it this way, it's a little more tricky, but once you get in there, it's pretty simple. From your calendar is another great way too. You just click Create. add your event, your details, and your guests. So it'd be your classroom. And then you click add rooms, location, or conferencing, and you save it as that. And once it goes into your calendar, it'll show up under your class calendar as well. So kids can get in, or students can get in that way as well.
And you can make it a reoccurring event so that,
Yeah.
like you said, it's a schedule every whenever. It's there already. So once you've set it up, that's probably the best. After the Google Classroom, Google Calendar is probably the most time saver in the end, I would say.
Yeah. And then we have start a video meeting from Meet. So did we just talk about this for G Suite users? So you go to your Google Meets, you join or start a meeting. This is kind of a neat option. You can create a nickname for your meeting and enter that nickname, and that will only be open to the LKDSB students, which is your students. No one else can get in with that nickname. So for example, if I were to ask you guys to join, I could write the name Coffee, and you could write Coffee into the as the nickname, and it would take you into our meeting. So it's a pretty neat little thing you could set up with your class if you felt like it. It's just another option. And then you click join now.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I can't see you, Ange. So I can't.
No, that's okay. I can't see you either.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I can see this one being more for those spur of the moment meetings where perhaps you would like to, you're maybe having a group session and at the same time you want to speak one-on-one with a student, not in the big group. I could see this being a way to just quickly setting up a meeting room with a small group, sort of spontaneous meeting, I would say.
Right. More of a,
Quick and easy, right from that top waffle of your Chrome. You can access it.
And then there is a way you can call in, say your students don't have a reliable internet access, they can call in, and that's a good thing for them to note. And I believe it's not long distance anymore. I think it was at one point, but I think we're good. It's not anymore. Not 100% sure on that though. So to join a video meeting, here are the different ways from Gmail. Like we said, inside the sidebar, click join a meeting. From the calendar, click the event. From Meet, join a scheduled meeting or use a meeting code. And then from the mobile device, open the Android or Apple iOS and meet in the meeting app. These are all different ways that your students, you can encourage them to join, or if not, Google Classroom. And then we have, so customizing your video settings, here's where you're gonna get, this is for you to figure out how you wanna show, but this was what your screen will look like, similar. Share your meeting details with guests, where the team meeting is. You're turning your microphone on and off. That could be really important, especially depending where you're hosting your meetings from. And that's something like if you have pets or kids like me, you use that button often. And to leave the meetings right in the middle, it's just a phone. And then turning off and on your camera, just like you probably have experience with. Share your screen. Now, sharing your screen is different on a laptop or a computer than it is on an iPad. So you would want to become familiar with that. With the iPad, it's up on the top right-hand corner, and on a computer, it's on the bottom. Those three dots see additional settings such as recording the meeting, changing your video resolution, and changing layout. So you can play with that. There's the three dots. You can remove a participant. Now, say something's going wrong in your meeting, or something's, I don't know, even if someone's got in that you didn't want in, you can remove them. Pin a participant, I'm not sure with that one. I think, do you know anything about that one, Ange? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the one. So if there's one, I can't really see the use so much in the classroom, but it holds that participant at the top of your, at the top so that you can always see them.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure where you would use that in a classroom scenario, because without the pin, it defaults to the person who's speaking, right? So I would think in most situations, you're going to want to be making eye contact with the person who's speaking, but that is an option there if you need to pin someone up high to keep an eye on things.
And then you have your chat, which you'll be able to monitor, and then you can view the meeting participants or under people. So pretty self-explanatory.
And then again, even with the chat, you'll want to go over with the kids what you're expecting from that chat box and what you're not wanting to see in the chat box. right? So setting those expectations early on.
Sorry, I'm just getting to the slide, trying to get it on my phone as well.
Teresa, I'm
so
wondering if
here's
we should maybe just take some questions here before we get into what is still coming. Like, I just don't want to muddy the waters.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so if there's any questions out there about anything we've said so far leading up to this point, that kind of gives you an overview of Google Meet. It really is quite simple to use once you get in there. All the buttons are there, nothing is hiding. You just have to play around with it. So we will take any questions you have at this point. Or not. All right. Then I guess we'll just keep going.
It is Monday. So coming soon in Google Meet. So if you use this in the spring, a few things have changed. A setting that requires the teacher to join first. I think that's really important. You don't really want your students in there before you. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's better that you're there to monitor. So that's a new setting that they've put in. And meeting for all participants when class is over, which is great. No one can stay in the classroom or in the meet once you left, once the host leaves. So that's a good feature. Disable the chat feature. Maybe some days you don't want to have anything happening in the chat. It's a lot when you have quite a few students in there. It might be too much if you're in there trying to teach and then at the same time monitor the chat, so you can disable it. Set restrictions on who can present during a meeting. That's an important one too, so no one can take over your screen. You can do that. And then to manage the join request in bulk. I think that you can let a lot of people in all at once instead of one at a time now that it used to be. I think that's what that was. So launching in September, larger view options, which is good if you're doing the remote or the online learning.
Yeah,
you'll be able to, yeah, you'll be able to see more participants at once, where at the beginning you could not. You only see one at a time or something really small. And then a collaborative whiteboard. So they must have been listening to us. A collaborative whiteboard to share ideas and work together. And then later in the year, there's a few other things coming through, which will be great. A hand-raising feature and a question and answer feature. And launching in October, attendance tracking, which will be useful, again, online learning. Breakout rooms, which if you've used Zoom in any of our sessions in the past, we used a lot of breakout rooms, which makes it great for discussion and to do some collaborative learning. And then the ability to blur or replace backgrounds, which some people aren't comfortable putting their face on screen, so this could be something as well. Yeah, so these are some things coming, or things that have already been put in place that are new to when we would have used it in the spring.
So we just have a question, Teresa, about is there a way to link a meet to Seesaw? What would you recommend we do for that?
There is a way to link it. I'm gonna probably have to get, I'm not as familiar with Seesaw as I'd like to be, but there is, I think it's new, and I'll have to get back to that person and let you know, because I'm not sure the exact answer right now, but I know it's possible, and let me double check.
I know for sure you could place the link in Seesaw, right? So once you've created the meeting, wherever that meeting link is, for sure you can post it right in Seesaw so that they can just click on it from there. I'm not aware of any other way, but maybe Teresa, you know more than I do about Seesaw.
Well, Seesaw is like, that's the one I'm like just learning about now. So I'm gonna see, I do know that Google Meet was doing something with Seesaw. Okay. This is where we need, yeah. But we can get back about that question for sure. But I know you, like you said, Ange, you can put the link in and they can join from there.
Yeah, so once you've created the meeting in either Calendar, probably in Calendar or just within the Google Meet application, a link will form that you can copy and paste into Seesaw. So for sure that would be an easy way, and you can just kind of keep it in your, especially if you're using the same one over and over, just to make it easier for parents, just keep it in the announcement section so that it's kind of pinned to the top. They can quickly and easily find it.
Yeah, and I'm just looking it up on YouTube right now. So it is possible. And there is a YouTube video. It says just using Google Meets with students in Seesaw. So it is out there. And it's same thing, you just connect, like you just said. Sorry, it's all videos, just trying to read it quickly. I should have researched that one.
Another person I would highly recommend who's really knowledgeable about Seesaw is Pam Gallant in program department. She kind of oversees Seesaw for our board. So if you can't figure it out, a quick email to her. She'll
Right.
know quickly.
Let's see what we have after this. So there is, Ange, do you want to speak to this slide?
Yeah, I just wanted to put that in there, that website there, support.google.com/meet. Anything you need to know about Google Meet can be found there. So we just did an introduction. This is a new to Google Meet session. We didn't want to overwhelm, but the basics were covered today on how you would run a Google Meet, get started with a Google Meet. If you are looking for more answers to more specific questions, I highly recommend you dig in there. There's a lot of information. The features that we showed, the screens, like the Google Meet screens, those were from a computer. So if you are not running from a computer, there is help on there. You can toggle between whether you're working from a computer, a phone, or an iPhone, or an Android, and it gives the specific instructions for each of those devices. Generally, it's the same thing. It's just more the placement of the buttons is a little bit different depending on your device. But all of that information can be found right on there and more. There's lots of other information on there. And I suspect that as they release some of the new features, you might want to explore them a little deeper there once they're released, right? Right now, we're all just waiting for those.
Right. I'm just reading about, oh, here we are, questions and answers. I'm just gonna,
Yeah.
I'll just show this screen and then I'm gonna just open it up so we can see people if they want to show their faces today.
Okay.
If I can get there, maybe not.
So that was what we had to share with you. Again, an introduction to Google Meet. The best way is just to get in there and get playing and experimenting with it. And you can practice it too without even having anyone else present in your meeting. So you can go log in, start a meeting, and that will allow you to play around and see the features and that without anyone else being there to witness it for the first time. So are there any questions, anything we can address, anything we didn't address that you were really hoping that you had heard?
Hi, Nicola.
How
And,
are you?
good, how are you?
I'm good.
So nice to see you.
Yes. It's
You
nice
ready?
to see everybody.
Okay, well, Teresa, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Oh, hello. No, just if you have questions, please ask. We can do our best at answering or get back to you at a different time or direct you in the right direction. Google Meets is pretty straightforward, and I mean, we've used it. I haven't used it for a while, but we're looking forward to getting back to it.
And those who will be doing the at-home learning, there'll be more direction coming on as to what that will look like, right? What those expectations for synchronous and asynchronous will look like exactly. So we're kind of in this in-between time where we don't know who's doing what. And right now, most of us are planning on going back. This is good to know because if at any point we do end up back at home, you're ready to go, right? It'll be a nice seamless transition for you.
I think there was a question in the app, or the chat. Someone having trouble? It works on my phone.
I've had issues trying to join a meeting from the website on my laptop. It works on my phone.
I guess we have to make sure too we're logged in on our LKDSB, because it'll be, if you're not LKDSB, it has to let you in like separately. So the host would have to let you in if it's not an LKDSB address. But it could be that you weren't maybe logged on under your lkdsb.net or .com. Could that have been it?
Possibly. Yeah, I don't know what else it would be. Because for sure, you have to, in order to be automatically admitted, you have to be logged into your lkdsb.com. Otherwise, you sit in the waiting room until the administrator, the host, allows you to enter. I don't know what else that would be. That does seem strange. Silka is saying it doesn't work on Edge, but does work for me on Chrome. Yes, thank you, Silka. That it is important. Definitely use Chrome for anything Google related. It's definitely the better option.
Right.
Glad you brought that up.
Question.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was just easier to talk over instead of just typing it in. So I'm an ECE and we have done our Google Meets together with my team teacher. So far we've had to just use her as the presenter with all her Google Slides and stuff like that. Is there a way for both of us to be the presenter from two different homes, or is it just on one computer only as the presenter?
No, you can both be. She would just have to add you as a co-host. So
Okay.
she would click your name and then she'd add you as a host. We just did that this morning. Me and Angela and Rod, we had to add each other. So it's just a matter of the person who organized it. They just have to add you as a host and then you should be able to present. Because Angela, you'd be able to present right now as well.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really, I believe in Google Meet, anyone can present if given the right. You have that as the host, you have the ability to turn that feature on and off. Is that not right, Teresa? I know we're in Zoom right now, so I can't confirm that.
Right.
But
No,
really, anyone can click that present screen or show screen button.
Right.
And then obviously the host can disable that if you don't want that option, but you should be able to.
You
Okay,
should be
thank
able
you so
to.
much.
Yeah, now I'm thinking we're in Zoom right now, so we can't
Yeah.
even. Please. We should have done this in Google Meet.
We talked about that, but then it's hard to show our actual screen. There's no way to. Any other questions or concerns out there?
I'm sure there's concerns, but I don't know if we can answer them. So there's lots going on this week. If you're interested in some great information coming, did you want me to show that screen again?
Yeah, you might as well. Just give them the lineup.
Yeah. Let's go back to my slides. Here we go. So Joe Bowler is at 1 o'clock, I believe, and you can just log on. You don't have to necessarily register. Is that correct?
Yeah, all the links can be found on the elementary blog spot. So even if you didn't sign up, it's not too late just to click on that link and join.
So yeah, and Ange and I will be back on Friday for Kathy. I'll be running a Joma, a Luo. I'm pretty excited, and everyone else looks great. Heather works. She's been part of our working with math in our board all last year, I believe. But Joe Bowler's a big one, so if you can catch that one, I heard it's a good one.
If that's all, thank you for coming out today. Don't hesitate to reach out to Teresa or I at any point if we can answer any of your questions. And like I said, the Google support is phenomenal. We refer to it often when we're not sure what we're doing.
Yeah.
Any question you have can be found there, really. So we got something else in there. As for the grid view, I think it depends on what device you're on. Sorry, the question was that sometimes the grid works to show everyone on Google Meet, but doesn't always. My experience has been what device you're on. Computer should work every time. The grid, I know on a phone, I don't think you can get that same grid view. But who knows what September is going to bring, because that was one of the changes, is that you will be able to see more people. So I'm not sure on what devices that will be applicable.
And they just changed that so you can see more. So I'm wondering what that will look like.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Silka. It's good seeing you again.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a nice day. Enjoy the sunshine.
2 weeks, well, a week and a half. There we go. Can't log off.
stop recording. I think Rod's still recording, but.
Okay, it's just us. All right, thank you.
Well, covered what we needed to cover, right? It's just an intro.
Well, and it gets like that. You forget no one says anything and you're kind of like, am I going too fast? Was I going too fast? I couldn't see anything. So it makes it a little bit more.
Yeah, no, but hardly, people didn't have their cameras on. So not until the end when you turned off the slideshow, then a couple did, but
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It's an intro and hopefully it did what they needed.
Yeah, I think we covered everything we can. I mean,
there's not much to it. No.
Yeah.
Hey, Rod.
Hi, Rod.
I popped in a number of times. Everything seemed to be going okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just short and sweet and not much to talk about because it's like a Google Meet. Like, it's like, well, you can come, you can do this. We didn't really talk about what you can do in it.
Yeah,
but
that's next level.
We talk about how to teach your class then.
Well, you're modeling it as much as anything you do, right?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey.